Tonight, NewsWatch 12 is mourning the loss of a great journalist and friend. Ron Brown's battle with cancer is over.
Today, the family of Ron Brown informed us that he died this morning. Ron's death leaves an emptiness in Southern Oregon. He committed his life to serving others in our community through his church and his work. Ron's Brown family sent us this statement this afternoon. You can read it on your screen right now. It says in part that he passed away peacefully with family members after a valiant year-and-a-half battle with prostate cancer.
He is survived by his wife, Judy, his 3 children, and 7 grandchildren. The family asks in lieu of flowers to do a good deed for another person in his honor. Join us now as Ashley Hall pays tribute to her former colleague, Ron Brown.
Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm Ron Brown.
Ronald Bryce Brown was born in Klamath Falls, October 29, 1946. His parents were Byron and Frances Brown. They moved to the Rogue Valley when Ron was 5. He attended Gold Hill schools through 8th grade and graduated from Crater High School. He then went to Brigham Young University. He spent 3 years in the military, and his reporting took him back to Vietnam.
About this time, back in 1969, I was a 22-year-old Army PFC in Nha Trang, Vietnam. Like most South Vietnamese cities, Nha Trang was bustling with American GIs. Our unit was stationed south of town, near the air base. It's very plain that the last 25 years have brought a lot of changes to Nha Trang, as well as most of Vietnam. The changes have come very painfully in many cases, but the future looks very good for at least this part of Vietnam. In Nha Trang, Ron Brown on the NewsWatch.
He also traveled to Grants Pass sister city in Russia 3 times, first in 1990.
Rubsovsk is a place straddling the line between the old and new. But perhaps people reaching out to people will further strengthen Soviet-American ties.
His wife, Judy, by his side since college.
I met her in that last 2 weeks of college. We started a long-term romance. July we met. In December we became engaged. In the next, almost a year after we met, we were married in Los Angeles and moved up here.
When Ron retired in 2015, Judy shared this with him.
Do you remember when we were in college on our very first date? You told me then that it was your career goal to be one of the best and one of the most respected newsmen in the Rogue Valley. You have met your goal.
They had 3 children who we occasionally saw on NewsWatch 12 in Ron's reports, like when he interviewed his son Ryan about playing marbles, reporting while chaperoning a Girl Scout whale-watching trip with his daughter Celicia, and when his daughter Tiffany accompanied him on a story about Take Your Daughter to Work Day.
Parents taking daughters to work may not produce a new crop of reporters and teachers, but it does give daughters a better idea of what their parents do for a living. In Medford, I'm Tiffany Brown.
And I'm Tiffany's father on the NewsWatch.
She now lives in Iowa with her husband and their 2 children. Celicia lives in Utah with her husband and their 2 children. And Ryan lives in Utah with his wife and their 3 kids. One of Ron's favorite memories of reporting for NewsWatch 12 is the time he and his son Ryan worked together to recreate the first time an Oregon officer was killed in the line of duty. Ron started his career in broadcasting in 1980 at KRWQ Radio in Gold Hill as the station's newsman. He joined NewsWatch 12 in March of 1986. He often made us smile.
Mom, don't mind if I take first for you.
Synchronized swimming combines the best of ballet, gymnastics, and of course water sports. But there's one thing to remember. You need to be sure to point your toes. From Fire Pool at Ashland, Ron Brown, NewsWatch 12.
After 6 years of reporting, Ron became the first anchor of NewsWatch 12 this morning when it launched in the early 90s. During his career, Ron received numerous awards for excellence in broadcasting, including an Oregon Heritage Award for his popular Oregon Century 1.5 series commemorating the state's sesquicentennial.
Good evening. I'm Ron Brown.
That series evolved to become Oregon Trails. He also was awarded Best Breaking News Coverage from the Associated Press after he captured this video.
Get back!
During his nearly 30 years with NewsWatch 12, Ron estimated he reported on between 6,000 and 7,000 stories.
I figured out one evening when I was trying to get to sleep about 250 stories a year, every 4 years, that's another 1,000 stories, so maybe 7,000 stories or so.
He kept a copy of nearly every one. And he says his primary concern was always making sure his stories were accurate and would make a difference in someone's life.
NewsWatch 12.
He accomplished that goal even at the cost of his own comfort. In May of 2005, he was out on his story when he found out his home was on fire. Before he retired, he talked about the day he became the news.
One day, I was out on a chase heading out towards Weimar, and I got a call about a fire near my house. And I didn't know anything about it, but I continued on. Then I got a phone call when I got to the scene of the chase, where the chase had ended. Turns out it was my house that was on fire. So I had to quickly shoot my video and then turn around and get back, and coming back into town to see that big column of smoke coming up, and come to find out it's actually my house that's burning. That was a little bit of an empty feeling.
Well, I think the key there was you continued on the story you were on and then went to your house that was burning down.
Yeah,
that's dedication.
Well, I didn't get to finish the story. I had to hand that video off to somebody else because other things came up, you might say.
After being a part of Southern Oregon and Northern California's morning routine for decades, Ron retired in June of 2015.
And I thank you very much for accepting me. Thank you.
He had such an impact on our team that we named our newsroom after him, the Ron Brown News Center. He didn't let retirement slow him down. He used his knowledge of Southern Oregon history to teach Ollie classes at SOU. He traveled the world with NewsWatch 12 viewers, flying to Europe, cruising to Alaska, and riding the trains through the Rockies. He occasionally joined our newscast to give more insight into the big news of the day. It was fall of 2018 when he revealed to everyone he was battling prostate cancer.
Took 12 samples, tissue samples, and every one of them was positive for cancer and indicated that it was starting to spread to the lymph nodes.
In mid-2019, Ron's cancer battle turned, eventually spreading to his liver. Ron was 72 years old.